I was going out with comfort dogs. I would go to a crisis deployment, like for a suicide or a drug overdose or a car accident. In those cases, the deployment's 3 days, that's it. You'd go for 3 days and then you'd leave. The Boston race is just a whole event of its own. I was in the middle of training for it when I became involved with going to Sandy Hook every week. And there was very little I could say, but just being there and giving hugs and looking people in the eye and saying, "How's today?" I was dedicating mile 26 to my new friends at Sandy Hook, and I remember seeing the 25-mile marker. But my head was down and just counting the steps, and I mean, all of a sudden there was a man in front of me. Like, I'll never forget this. And this man just said, "The race is over." There's bombs at the finish line. People are screaming. Nobody knows what's going on. And you just shake. I mean, I just remember all I could do was shake. It was the best feeling to finally see my family. But what happens is your mind initially, you think you're okay. But actually, scientifically, your body is flooding with cortisol. You're under an enormous stress response. And over those next 3 days, I realized what a stress response is. Like, this just doesn't go away after 72 hours. And so leaving a school or a community after only being there a couple days was weighing really, really heavily on me. And that's really what drove me to find the solution. So the name of the company we developed was Inspiring Comfort. We just started in these trauma-based schools where we would literally teach them to comfort others the way that others were comforting them. I was with a group of students who their best friend lost their brother, so the best friend was home, and none of them had reached out to their friend yet. And it wasn't because they didn't care. It really wasn't. It was all awkwardness and fear. They just didn't know what to do. Their phones are in their hand, but they don't know what to say. So their poor friend at home, who's already struggling, is struggling even more because nobody's reaching out to him. In our world of self-care and mental health professionals, which are both good, we have to raise up the middle, which kind of bridges it all, which is our social connection and our social interaction. And nothing is more important with social connection and social interaction than helping people that are struggling. And that includes skills of care, which is a skill of comfort. We now teach comfort in 4 steps. We first assess, then we inform, then we equip, and then we cultivate. My hope for anybody we train is they find a little bit of what I've found, that when you just focus on caring for others, everything comes full circle and you're cared for yourself more than you could ever imagine. My hope is that people get their tribes back. People have circles of friends and family that care for each other again. My friend Amy and I went back the following year and we ran that race. It was amazing when we got to the point where we were stopped the last time. That 0.4 miles that turned into 3 more miles of wandering Boston that year before. Because it was in that experience that drove me to understand even more about human care and even more about what happens to people through traumatic events and even more about how we need our tribe. And so, yeah, don't run your race alone.